Hello, viewers. This is David's channel with his guest star, Josh. First time doing the intro. Hi, how you doing? We're going to talk about a particular gaming horror story near and dear to my heart. It was my second session actually, and there's a lot to learn from it about what not to do in a role-playing game, specifically D&D. But don't do any of this. Ever.
It's shocking that D&D produce a horror story. It's usually such a well-written, well-balanced setting. It's usually got so many notes for the GM and players on how to roleplay.
I know.
Oh, no, wait. It's the exact opposite of that. It's a fountain of horror.
Well, we're playing 3.0, all right? And roll organically. I touched on this in an earlier video, but anyway, we roll organically, 3d6 down the line. I end up with an elven wizard with like 12 in int and 18 charisma. And my background, lived in this village for 100 years. Shitty little village of 50 to 100 people. For some reason we start there. I don't know. Whatever.
Main man, if you're watching, this is multiple horrors for you. The 3d6 down the line. And you already told your horror story about the pus-filled leg drop, and and it's also the 100-year-old prepubescent elf. And how much sense that makes that you could be 100 and still be playing with Barbie dolls.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so this goes on, and my first introduction to kind of the DM style is that the adventuring party is in the tavern, and I join them because I go there every day to get drunk and then go back to my study.
Yeah.
Because what else do you do in this shitty little town at level 1 as a wizard? And I go there, and he actually starts rolling some dice. I'm like, DM, what are you rolling? And he's like, I'm rolling to see if you're attracted to any of the NPCs. And I'm like, but I've been here 100 years. Wouldn't I have already been attracted to them? And he's like, I'm still rolling for it.
You were only 99 though. Your stones just dropped. And we get the love roll.
So what ends up happening is I end up falling in love with the other PC.
The GM tells you who you're in love with.
Yeah, and I'm madly in love and powerfully attracted to the other PC, a half-orc ranger with like 7 charisma.
Half-orc.
Female ranger with 7 charisma. And
please tell me that this was played by a woman.
It was, actually. It was played by the DM's girlfriend.
Oh, no! What? I think he's trying to proposition you, Josh.
I don't think he was.
You fall in love with my girlfriend. Are you interested?
You fall in love with her character, Josh. And so I guess I do, and I'm like, and this is new to me, role-playing. So I'm like, I guess I have to do what the DM says. So I'm like, oh, wow, you're beautiful. I use Prestidigitate to conjure flowers. She fucking stabs me with an arrow in the hand. She's having none of that, so she stabs me.
You're a first-level wizard. That could kill you.
I've got 4 HP.
Thank God, you rolled max.
So I'm now in critical, and they knock me unconscious. They bring me back up, and I'm like, oh, my God.
Like, my strength mod alone killed him.
And
I'm too much woman for him.
and it just kind of gets worse from there.
He penetrated you. Watch out for half-orcs. Watch out.
Bad. Your joke's bad. Anyway, I don't even know what that was about. Elves or half-orcs or just, I don't know, man. Anyway, moving on. So it just gets worse from there. There's no reason for us to really be adventuring together at all. Like, even a cursory reason. I was just assaulted. All the townspeople are like, Well, apparently I'm not well liked in that town.
Well, like 20 charisma, no friends. This is awesome.
And so what happened?
Did you meet in the tavern?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I was just going there to grab a drink. I was in my study, and I'm like, why would I be at a tavern? To get a beer.
Now, meeting in the tavern, of course, classic gaming trope, fantasy trope, going all the way back to the White Company.
Yeah.
Check out the White Company, see where it all started. It's actually an amazing adventure story. Rollicking good.
Oh, racism.
Unlike this right here. What racism?
White Company?
The White Company.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of...
You're fucking racist.
What? Why am I racist?
Because you brought it up.
How racism works.
I think it is.
Anyway.
And you know why I don't understand racism?
Ivanhoe.
Because I'm not racist.
Ivanhoe. That's the racist one. Sorry, you've been talking about both of those recently. I got them confused. Anyway, so it continues on, and basically, they just sit there and drink, and there's a tavern brawl. I try and cast a spell. I don't even know.
Only
Like,
have
Mage
one-
Armor. I try and cast Mage Armor.
You have one spell a
And-
day. You waste it on a tavern brawl.
As I'm casting it, somebody hit me with an orc. They picked up an orc and swung it at me and knocked me unconscious. And then the orc picks me up and throws me out the window for daring to cast magic in his presence, or because I was in the way. So I'm unconscious again. And this would happen every about 12 hours.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd be knocked unconscious. And I never actually cast a spell in that game.
This sounds remarkably familiar to me. If you saw my RPG horror story, old school horror, you remember I played a caster in Mike Chartrand's game, and at the start of every combat, like clockwork, I would get shut down. I think I was caught in the Odaloof sphere, and then a monster swallowed me, and then later I got like some kind of web trap, or I was frozen. Like I never got to do shit in combat.
Oh, you were the pixie, weren't you?
Yeah, I was a sprite.
Yeah, no.
Oh, the sprite. There's a difference. Pixies have dragonfly wings. Sprites have butterfly
Fuck
wings.
your pixie dragonfly wings,
There's
man.
a great racial enemy.
It was actually fantastic. It was a lot of fun. You were the Scottish pixie at Sprite.
Yeah.
Sprite.
Yeah, Sprite. Fun.
Sprite.
Pixies are our mortal enemy.
You actually turned into a shoulder cannon. I remember you got a couple disintegrates off
Of my,
on my monk, who was
it was a terrible game.
It could have been better, but I had fun. I killed 2 ancient dragons, red dragons. So
I only killed 2 ancient red dragons.
in 2 rounds,
In
because,
2 rounds.
I may have overcompensated for my monk.
2 rounds each.
No, 1 round each.
Oh my god. Anyway, back to
back to this. That's kind of a different type of horror story there. So we get back to it, all right. And so I'm knocked out. I'm being shut down every turn because it's so easy to do for an elven wizard. With I had to pump.
Yeah.
I was lucky to get 12, which became like 10 after the con mod dropped. And anyway, so I get shut down, and so we all wake up after the brawl in a clearing in the center of the village, surrounded by the villagers, and they're all chanting and carrying on. So we're all bonded by magic now.
Oh no.
So we can't travel further than 50 feet away from one another.
The shackled together party.
Shackled together. We cannot
Awesome.
leave each other's presence farther than 50 feet. So I still don't know why that happened. I don't think he did either, but that's okay. We were all young. This is kind of his first jamming too, right?
Yeah.
Right? So credit where it's due, was creative. But what happens is I cast Detect Magic for some reason. Like, is this magical? Dirt. Yes, but the well is extra magical. You see, it's very magical. I'm like, oh, okay. After we were all kind of bonded as penance for breaking a tavern, their only tavern. I look into the well. I'm blinded for 1d4 rounds and stunned because it is so magical.
So you peer over the well and you're like, my eyes! And you go staggering around. I can't see where and you fall into the well.
No.
Please tell me you
I
tried
tried-
and you dragged them all one after
I tried to
another.
cast summon monster 1. So I tried to summon a celestial dire badger to fall down the well.
Badger.
Yeah, to fall down the well,
Why Badger?
because that's what I had on my list, man.
Who wrote this list?
Fucking
Getty Gygax. Why would you do
wizards.
this?
Anyway,
Give us a
so I
badger.
try and cast it and have it drop. And then the ranger, I guess, recognized the spell and stabbed the shit out of me and threw me over the edge of the precipice, which pulled them all in.
Even worse.
Now, the reason it was magical is because it had invisible stairs. So,
They went rolling down invisible stairs.
and they did, and I managed to save before I fell off the precipice at the
Oh
bottom.
my god.
Except they didn't. So they slam into me,
Yeah.
all fucking 4 of them, and the wolf animal companion, blink dog animal companion,
Okay.
and
Your companion?
no, this is the rangers,
Oh.
the DM's girlfriend.
Okay.
And so they all slam into me. I'm unconscious now. We fall just for ages. Do you remember Gandalf falling in? So he described it like that.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember Gandalf in Lord of the Rings? Yeah.
He used
when
an
he fought the
illusion.
Balrog.
He used an illusion to describe it. Oh. That should be a whole nother video on how much I hate that.
So we fall in, and we fall into a lake. Somehow we don't get pancaked. I assume magic was involved, shenanigans. Get dragged out. my spell book is ruined because it wasn't magic. But the thing is I'm like, oh, is my spell book okay? I don't just let it go. I'm like, I ask because I'm like, oh, well, it's ink, right?
Yes.
It's like, no, it's destroyed. He actually laughed. He laughed at this.
Oh.
I was like, your spell book is gone.
To be fair, I'll GM like that from time to time.
Well, which is whatever. It was just the way it was described. So we wander through these dark tunnels from a great cavern, making no swim checks. And we come to a room, and there's an egg on a pedestal, and the ranger picks up the egg, and then the pedestal falls in, and a dragon hatches. And then it's a huge hole, and it starts filling with water. And there's a hammer as well for some reason, and the hammer is almost impossible to lift.
Okay. So you found a baby dragon and Mjolnir.
Basically. So he's like, there's no rhyme or reason to this. It was just like a room covered in draconic.
I randomly rolled this room.
Oh shit, that's right. That's why I couldn't cast any spells. I was talking to a shopkeep earlier, and I didn't realize wizards got draconic as a bonus language.
Sure.
So I'm like, I don't speak it. And he's like, really? That means you can't cast spells.
And he laughed at you again.
Yeah.
Your spellbook's in draconic.
I'm actually shittier than most peasants are because they have more HP and more strength. Although I was rocking charisma, even though everyone hated me.
But everyone hated you.
Yeah, because I was an elf and racism.
This is like if the tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, didn't make a sound. It's like if you have 20 charisma and everyone fucking ignores it. Do you really have 20 charisma?
Oh my god!
I don't think you do.
Well, truer words never said, man. So we all lift. I'm like, I concoct a plan. Like everyone, lift the hammer with your mighty, because they're all rolled well for strength, and I'm this weak little elfin wizard. So I'm like, lift the hammer, and they do. Like throw it down the big hole into the water, and hang on, and we do.
Hang on.
Hang on, so we can travel through it, because water has to be coming from somewhere, right? It was a terrible plan.
Sure.
And we travel through, and we come out of this pool in a forest.
On the other side of the world?
No, it was some kind of portal, man. It's just like made no rhyme or reason. So we get up and we're like, oh god, it was winter where we were before, although it was never described as such.
Okay.
We get up, it's summer. It's summer.
It's winter. Well, it's never described as such, but it's winter.
You mentioned it when we popped out, and it's summer now. All right. And so what ends up happening is we get out, we explore. There's a single tree. I go by the tree. I'm like, oh, what kind of tree is it? It's a tree with an assassin vine which attacks you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, it's grappled me.
This is like the classic first level total party kill. It's always the assassin vine.
And so the assassin vine grabs me and starts, like, falls off the tree, wraps around me, and starts dragging me into the earth.
Yeah. Oh, right. Into the earth.
So it's all messed up. And then the ranger's like, oh no, I'll save you. Ha!
He fires an arrow at the vine wrapped
around my neck.
Oh,
he misses. He misses. He doesn't have precise shot either, so he's taking a -4.
Did he miss?
He missed. He shot me in the throat.
He shot you.
He shot me, he knocked me into
I don't
negatives.
think he did miss.
Well, probably. Knocked me into negatives. And this was the ranger I fell in love with at the beginning.
If she shot at you and missed, would she not have hit the assassin vine? Maybe she should have tried that.
That's actually probably a better idea. But she hits me into my throat, knocks me into critical. I was like, oh no, my arrow. And
oh no, my arrow! And she went to go pull her arrow out?
No, she's making this gesture, she pulls it out, and so she ends up decapitating me. Assassin vine drives me into the earth. And I wake up in the realm of Ouija's, goddess of death and magic, in what, Forgotten Realms? Or it may just be the generic magic set, or D&D setting from Wizards. And and she's like, oh, I turn you into my scion. Oh, now you're lawful evil, and you're level 6, and you have leadership, and this spell that lets you summon an acid dragon or a black dragon.
Leadership to level 7.
That's Pathfinder. Oh. Yeah, you could take it to level 6, I'm pretty sure. But yeah.
Was that the end?
No. Then the rest of the party gets chased off by the illusion of a giant dragon. Like a rift opens in the earth and a blue dragon crawls out saying, "Give me my child back."
Do you remember when Aaron threw that dragon at us? And I stood there and I'm like, I disbelieve! And the dragon's like, boom! And it just kills me. And I'm like, it was a real dragon. Help me! And I'm like crawling out of the cave. Like, it's real, guys. Run for your lives.
No.
Sorry.
They don't at all.
Alright, I digress. So, illusionary dragon chases them.
Chases them out. And then he's like, "Yeah, now you're the big bad of the campaign, Josh."
And you get to take over GMing.
No, that was the end of it. He wrote himself into a corner. I had no idea where to go with it. I don't think he ever GM'd again.
That's awful.
Yeah, that was the story of my first sort of horror story. The first one was kind of iffy with the half-elf monk and the multiple DMPCs. This was something else, and actually made me that is the reason I became a GM, is because I didn't want anyone else to GM.
We might have to call this one first time horror.
First time horror.
It's like your first time playing.
That popped my horror cherry for D&D.
Yeah,
so
and this is why some people don't come back to gaming. You know, I'll meet someone and be like, "Hey, you want to come join my RPG?" And they'll be like, "Oh no, I played Dungeons and Dragons once and I hated it." And I'm like, "Yeah, but we're not playing Dungeons and Dragons. We're playing this other game. It's totally different." And he's like, "Oh no, I'm good, thanks." And I'm just like, Gygax! And I'm just like, you've another role player has been stillborn. Another person could have come into the hobby, spent money on the hobby, contributed, played more games, recruited more people. Didn't happen because Dungeons and Dragons doesn't educate people or provide them with a useful tool set.
You know, generally I would lay more blame to that on the GM. Now, sure, I don't think any D&D book has ever been, "This is how you role play." It's always been assumed. You know,
I just assume that you self-educate yourself.
But I think it's a bit much to lay the entirety of that blame on D&D.
Well, I don't. I think it's perfectly apt.
You think a lot of things are perfectly apt.
I do. If you want to check out, though, let me give a plug out here to Within the Ring of Fire, Buddy Andrew Wood's role-playing game. The first 20 pages or so are how to GM, how to play, how to role-play. And someone who's never played before can pick this up and right away have all these tools and knowledge at their disposal. Or you could just hit up these videos, hit up his videos. There's a ton of resources now, thank goodness, to support our great hobby. But this is what happens when you have no tools and nobody helps you. So I think we're going to sign off now on First Time Horror Stories. I hope it didn't happen to you. I hope you weren't subjected to Dungeons and Dragons.